Now on for one man's memories of the momentous D-Day landings in The Time of My Life.
My name is Ken Smith. I was born in the year of 1924. Lived most of my young life in Sheffield. I now live in Antrim in Northern Ireland and have done for many years.
My name is Jessica Nash. I was born in 1983, so that makes me 15. I've lived in Surbiton, Surrey my whole life.
I joined the Royal Navy in 1941, 2 years after the Second World War started, and went through the war until the culmination of it was D-Day. When we landed on the Normandy beaches, I was on a landing craft that took in the American soldiers into Omaha Beach. That was the beginning of the end of the war.
I've seen 3 films about World War II. I've seen Saving Private Ryan, and that was really moving. I actually cried when I saw that. I didn't realise what the soldiers went through really at all until I'd seen that. I've seen The Longest Day, and I've seen Schindler's List.
I have seen so many bad things in situations where I was very near to death and saw other people die when maybe I should have died. Instead, I escaped all this. I never was a hero. I was just as frightened as any other man.
You see old men in the street just walking down the road and you just ignore them and think, oh God, they're walking so slow, they're in my way. But you don't actually realise that they have fought for the country and they went through something that people my age will never understand.
We joined the Navy to see the world, and what we see, we saw the sea.
How old were you when you joined the Navy?
15 years old.
15?
Well,
so you're
just
my age?
after my 15th birthday, yeah, about your age now, yeah. I was a bit bigger than you are. Yeah, I joined illegally because I forged my age. I went in and the boy says, how old are you? I says, I'm 16. He says, you still need your father's permission. He gave me a form and a pen.
Did you have your father's
permission? Told me to go out. No. He took me, he sent me out and told me to come back with the thing signed, and I went outside, signed it. It was obvious what he was talking about, and I signed it and gave it back. That's okay. He says, that's it, you're in.
What did your parents say?
They didn't know I'd gone. I got a letter one morning in the post. I opened it because it was in my name, and inside was a piece of paper telling me where I had to go, and a shilling stuck, because that's what was known as the King's Shilling, once you'd accepted that. Now, that was 2 weeks' pocket money for me, so that was worth doing in the first place.
So how did you look, you know, all that time ago? What was your uniform like?
Well, the uniform was very, very smart. It was very tight. That's the way we had them made, like a pair of corsets, really.
Really?
It was really hard to get on, the top half of it. The trousers had bell-bottoms.
So was this the similar sort of boat that you sailed across on?
This was the kind of boat that I went across to the D-Day landings on.
So was it just all flat here? There was nowhere for anyone to sit or...?
No seats, just stand up. There would have been 64, 65 men, as you can see there. They would be a bit crowded, but they were all in there. And we sailed all night on one of these small things with the waves coming over the top.
Was there any sort of, like, bathroom facilities? Where could you go to the toilet?
Oh, no, just where you are.
Really?
Oh, just where you are, yes, yes. I'm afraid it was a bit like the boys that go to the moon. They don't have toilets. This was very primitive. It's even primitive now.
I was thinking that.
I mean, there's
no
comfort whatsoever in one of these things. They were not built for comfort. They were only built for a specific job, to get men onto a beach. It's about 55 years ago that I came over here, first time, to invade France with a whole armada of ships. I was in a landing craft. We had been practicing for many, many months. And even on that day, we didn't know we were coming over. There were 65 men on board on a small landing craft. And they were soldiers. They were not used to the sea at all, and they were very, very sick.
Was there any food or drink? Or...
Well, no, except they had some small rations in their bags. There was no food supplied on the ship. And by this time, they'd all run out of cigarettes as well, and everybody smoked in those days, you know. The sea was completely covered in ships. The whole of this channel was completely black with ships.
Is this the same sort of route that you took?
This is roughly the same kind of route we took, yes.
What type of training did you do?
We trained on the beaches of Dorset and Devon, which are very similar to the beaches of France.
All right. So it gave them sort of a picture of what...
It gave them a picture, and they'd made it as lifelike as possible by using live ammunition fired over their heads. But these poor men on the front of that boat suffered all the way over. And of course, when we got there, you know the story of that, and you know we're going to see some of these places. It's not my first time to come back. I've never come back before. I've always really wanted to come back, but it makes you feel, I don't know, it's a sentimental thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to come back with a group of men.
No.
It's not the same thing. I think I just wanted to do it more or less on my own. But it's nice to have you with me too. It was June the 6th of 1944 when the Allies invaded here on this beach and other beaches. And the idea, of course, was to take Cherbourg, which is round there. They needed somewhere they could bring big ships in and big stuff, right. Tanks.
So it was essential for...
Essential, absolutely essential.
How do you feel coming back here for the first time?
Well, it's very sad. It's difficult for me to analyse my emotions at this moment because the day is a day that you could never forget. And it's so peaceful now when you look at it. You wouldn't ever think that something like that could occur. We were out there for 12 hours waiting to come in because the weather was so bad. But when we did start, round about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, we came in under great opposing fire. They were firing at us for everything they had. The men rushed onto the beaches.
What was the beach like when you saw it? What...
Well, I wasn't on the first wave in. There were dead people here when I got here. And they were littered all over. And the men coming off just ignored that, ran over them and in. We weren't supposed to take anybody off. We were ordered not to, but it's impossible when you see a man lying and he's badly wounded to leave him there. So we did take a few back to the ships. What they did with them on the ships, we don't know.
So you were told by your commander that you had to drop them off?
Drop them off and leave them. But no way can you do that. Nobody with a heart could possibly leave a man lying, dying, if you could do something about it.
When the soldiers came off the boat, did they have to get up these cliffs?
That was the thing they had to do, was get up those cliffs. As you can see, it was a very difficult thing to do. And of course then there was aircraft coming in, dropping things, and soldiers were coming in and behind, paratroopers.
What, so the soldiers that came off from the boats onto the beach had to basically get up on the cliffs, and then the aeroplanes went over and got them from behind?
They went over behind and dropped men.
So the Germans were stuck in the middle?
Yeah, that was it.
Did the soldiers all just run off the boat, or did some stay? Were they scared?
No, I never saw one man who didn't go. I never saw one man that didn't go. I didn't see a coward amongst them. The American soldiers that I saw go up this beach were some of the bravest people I have ever seen in my life. But the Germans were ready for us, and the Germans were good fighters, and they were determined to defend this place. Now, the idea of any kind of a battle is, if you can get above your enemy, you've always got the advantage.
Exactly, and we'd come in and the soldiers had been sick.
We were at a great disadvantage. We were coming in the low ground here to try to get to the high ground up there.
How did you feel when the first few times the boat pulled up onto the shore and drop the troops off.
Well, you're so full of adrenaline, there's no way out. You're not going to back down. You're not going to run away. You can't run away. There's only one way, and that's the way forward. And you analyse your feelings afterwards. And it was great fear, because you tremble afterwards.
Yeah,
but at the time, you don't. Soldiers and sailors throughout all history have had to do similar things. And we're not heroes. It's just something that you train to do. You train so long to do it. So many times we did it before that on beaches over in England. We landed troops all the time. So we knew what we were going to do exactly. Every detail was all rehearsed. It was like rehearsing a play.
Looking back, do you think that you're lucky to be alive?
Oh, I am extremely lucky to be alive, yes. Everything was red. The sand was red with blood. In a human being, there's about 8 or 9 pints of blood. It all comes out when they're dead, when they've been shot. So it just soaks into the sand.
Yeah, there's scenes like that in Saving Private Ryan, those putting their helmets on when they fell off in the water, and as they put them back on, they were just full of
blood. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's the way it was. There were 22,000 men of various nationalities who were killed in this campaign to retake France.
Right.
9,000 of them are in this cemetery, American soldiers here.
Are the soldiers actually buried here?
They are buried here. Each one of these graves will contain the soldier whose name is on that stone. I find it very moving. I find it very moving. What do you think about it yourself?
You see, like, the figures and the amounts of people that actually died in books, and you hear about it, but coming here and seeing all these graves, and this is only the American ones, it really makes you think and realise just what...
Well, if you sort of look in each direction, almost as far as you can see, there are people who died for a cause, in my opinion, a very good cause. I was 19, coming up to 20, when I came here the first time with these soldiers to bring them here. A lot of these people who are dead here I've possibly brought in. You were 15, coming up to 16. If it happened to you, what would you think?
Well, I would not want to be involved in the war at all. I would not want to go off and start fighting. And to be honest, I know it sounds really selfish, but I would probably try my best to get out of it some sort of way.
Well, I personally think that what I did, and not only what I did, but many others like me did, was to try and stop other people from having to do it. We didn't ever want anyone else to have to do it.
I have a lot of respect for you and the people who did that.
And all these men who are buried here had, I'm sure, the same idea as I have. We did it for that. We weren't completely successful because they're still fighting wars and doing things like that, but we did it for that very reason, and we were idealistic. Think of all the mothers who lost their sons, wives who lost their husbands, children who lost their fathers. Terrible business war.
Net notes to support this series, featuring programme outlines, background information and links to other resources, are available free on the Channel 4 Learning website at learning.channel4.com.
If you mess around with fireworks in the street, you could end up with a penalty not even I could help you with.